Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Hub back in the video today, and today the Houston Texans, or yesterday the Houston Texans signed C.J. Henderson, former top 10 overall pick, to actually there have not been any details released on the contract, but the Texans signed former top 10 overall pick from rival Jacksonville Jaguars, C.J. Henderson. He had been with the Carolina Panthers, was traded to the Panthers, I think either his rookie year or second year, and he was in the 9th overall pick. Now, the Houston Texans have now signed the top two guys from the 2020 NFL Draft at the cornerback position, signing Jeff Okudah from the Atlanta Falcons to a one-year, $4.75 million deal, now picking up C.J. Henderson, who was the 9th overall pick. So you have the 3rd and 9th overall picks in the 2020 NFL Draft. We're here to talk about what C.J. Henderson is going to bring to the Houston Texans defense and what his strong suits are. I think it's most likely going to be a competition battle at the cornerback too, between the two guys that were top 10 picks in the draft and have recently been signed by the Texans. And whoever wins that job, which I think it will be a competition, will be the cornerback next to Derek Stingley Jr. Whoever is the cornerback 3 will probably get some nice minutes too. But yeah, we're going to talk about what his strengths are, what he brings to the defense. He has some great size. That's one thing about him. 6'1", 204 pounds. For a cornerback, his size is really good. And I think that's one thing that is going to be really good for the Texans defense. And then also he has some speed too. His 40-yard dash when he was drafted was a 4.38. So his 40-yard dash was really good when he was going in the draft. He's fast. So not only does he have speed, which is really good for this Texans defense, but he's also able to stop the run. He's really good at stopping the run, especially for a cornerback. And there are a lot of other things that he can bring to this Texans defense that, are really good for this Texans defense, which, there are some things that might hurt this Texans defense. He's a little bit sloppy. Some penalties. He does get a lot of penalties called on him. We do see him press when pressing a little bit. He touches a little too much, and we've seen a lot of fouls called on him. Penalties called on him with Jacksonville and Carolina. And there are a lot of good things that he will bring to this Texans defense, but I think there are a lot of maybe negative things he might bring to this defense. But also, I want to talk about how this is going to be the best defensive system he's ever been in his career. If you think about it, he was first year of his career is with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I know the Jaguars are better now. They have Doug Peterson as their head coach, but he was on the Jaguars in 2020. They were terrible, not a good coach at all. Then he goes to the Panthers. We know what the Panthers are. They haven't had great coaches there. Matt Rule, all the other coaches that have been there. So, to be honest, this is going to be the best coaching system, the best defense he's been in his career. So I think that might be a change. And I look at the same thing with a bust in Jeff Okudah. This is going to be the best coaching staff he's ever had in his career. Detroit, very solid, but also just like C.J. Henderson, he was obviously the Jaguars have a better defense now, but Jeff Okudah was with the Detroit Lions a little bit earlier in his career when the Detroit Lions were not as successful as they are, today. But I think both guys will be really good for this Texans defense, and I think both guys are going to play some of the best football of their career, which with what we've seen from them in their careers, it's not going to be very hard to have their best seasons of their career. And I think both of these guys, C.J. Henderson, and not only C.J. Henderson, but also having Jeff Okudah, I think these are great replacements for a guy like Steven Nelson, who had a great season with Houston Texans. Let me know your thoughts, and peace out. Go Texans.